On this World Food Day 2023, our message is to advocate the recognition of the importance of inner capacities for food systems transformation. We need to acknowledge, the important role of mindset, worldviews, values in the transition we are undergoing. And we need to show there are practical ways to take this into account, to integrate that dimension into our efforts for more regenerative food systems. The Conscious Food Systems Alliance is a movement that brings together people from across food systems together with what we call consciousness practitioners, so that we can find a way to together to cultivate the inner capacities that activate systemic change and regeneration. Because we are living in very very difficult times, especially for farmers who are the first impacted by climate change, but also for change agents on the ground. A lot of them get burnout, and how to take care of oneself, how to take care of strong emotions also, like fear, for example, or anger, in order to reduce also polarization in the discussions we have. We are really advocating for the importance of considering and acknowledging, the role of what's happening inside each of us in this big transition we are called to undergo. So how can we, better take into account mindsets, values, worldviews, and how can we cultivate these inner capacity that we think can foster regeneration? So we want to demonstrate not only that is needed, but there are also practical, effective ways to work on that. So indeed, we have identified different areas of intervention for this agenda throughout the food systems, starting, at the local level where production happens, looking, for example, at farmers' well-being and psychological resilience, and how to support, the cultivate the mindsets that are the regenerative mindsets for farmers to adopt more regenerative practices. We are also having a dialogue with indigenous people and on the role of traditional wisdom, how we can, strengthen these traditional wisdom, traditional practices, how we can make sure they are passed on to the next generation and disseminated in their communities. How we can approach, multi-stakeholders dialogues, policy processes in a different manner, especially building self-transformative and connecting spaces for deeper discussions, and starting, our reflection on policies from a place of connection to self, others, and nature. How we can evolve organizational cultures to make them more conscious in the way we are working together. And finally, on consumption, how we can, often we see that, especially in the global south, traditional diets are depreciated and social status is associated with Western imported food, how we can revert that, and how we can, use practices such as mindful eating to support more sustainable and healthy diets. So, really looking at taking a system-wide approach and looking at where are key leverage points for food systems transformations through the cultivation of inner capacities. We have a dialogue right now with indigenous people and local communities on the role of traditional wisdom for in regenerative food systems. How we can, as I said, ensure this knowledge is identified, documented, protected, and disseminated within their communities. So we are having, we are developing a roadmap on what we would like to do with indigenous people and local communities on this agenda. Of course, we are really taking a specific approach with inner capacities as a complementary approach. Often we see that indigenous people, local communities have a much more integrated approach, sorry, and where it is difficult, to separate, the wisdom, the culture from actual practices like, conserving the seeds, for example, etc. But yes, we are working together on developing a common agenda on these issues.
Welcome to COFSA, the Conscious Food Systems Alliance. It is now time to unlock food systems transformation for the nourishment of all people and the regeneration of the planet.
Global food systems are at breaking point, and our current policy solutions and technical innovations are not delivering the change we need. To create more regenerative systems, we need to access deeper levers of change.
Crisis begins within us and how we see and relate to the world. While food connects us fundamentally with the earth and with one another, the current global food system is shaped by a deep cultural story of separation that sets individuals apart from other beings and with nature.
This inner disconnection manifests in dysfunctional food systems, hungry children, obesity epidemics, and farmers' despair, extractive production practices, devastated landscapes, and biodiversity loss.
While these issues are embedded in structural inequalities and the disempowerment of the most marginalised stakeholders, they are also rooted in our collective consciousness.
To activate solutions, we must therefore also look within, shifting the collective ways of being, thinking and doing that have produced the current crisis.
The time has come to build the inner foundations of sustainable food systems.
The Conscious Food Systems Alliance, COFSA, is a movement of food, agriculture and consciousness practitioners convened by UNDP and united around a common goal.
To support people from food and agriculture systems to cultivate the inner capacities that activate systemic change and regeneration.
We aim to complement existing approaches, exploring ways to integrate evidence-based consciousness practices such as mindfulness, compassion, nature connection, nonviolent communication, and self-reflection into food systems initiatives.
These practices foster the awareness, connection, and creativity that can unlock structural solutions.
We know that these practices are effective, and their value in supporting sustainability at multiple levels is increasingly recognized. We also know that they are not new. Indigenous and traditional wisdom have embraced these practices for millennia within a holistic understanding of food and the natural world.
COFSA offers a bold vision on the role of consciousness in food systems transformation. Around this shared purpose, diverse stakeholders are uniting, co-creating and adapting approaches to their own contexts and learning from each other.
Reconnection begins here. Join a growing community of practitioners exploring pathways toward conscious food systems.